conversations. And what was the third one? I'm not sure I remember. But this one, this one is about I'm emotions, and hey everyone, welcome those on YouTube, welcome to my live broadcast. So I've already gone. This is a simultaneous broadcast on Instagram and YouTube, and this is the Dear Nigerian Parent series. Dear Nigerian Parent, stop this. This series is dedicated to Nigerian parents mainly. The other day while I was on online live, somebody from India joined the broadcast. A friend of mine from India and said that the things I was talking about were also things prevalent where he comes from, even though he lives in the United States. So I mean, you could imagine why India would share some of these things that are parenting styles in Nigeria, right? So this is dedicated solely. I don't know about what really is prevalent in India, but I know the things that are prevalent in Nigeria, being a Nigerian myself and growing up in Nigeria. So there are so many things that our parents did, the way our parents raised us, the way some of their parents raised them, that we are transferring to our children, despite the fact that parenting the world as it were when we were raised, as it were when our parents were raised, is totally, completely different from the way it is now that we are raising our children. Take, for instance, when I grew up, when the parents in my generation grew up, we didn't have internet like this where children could actually just get online and jam all sorts of things. They would just jam, use it as in this jam all sorts of things, both the ones that are appropriate for them and the ones that aren't appropriate for them. In my 20s, in my early 20s, that was when the internet came to Nigeria, you know, and you would go and browse overnight at the cyber cafe so that you could get what's it called, the network that was good enough to even connect you online and to do the things. Goodness save you if you wanted to download stuff, or you want, how would you want to watch something online in the year 2000, 2001? Are you okay? What are you trying to do? So that's the departure. Then there was a lot of information. Sorry, now there's a lot of information that our children are besieged by. Then the only things we knew were basically mostly things that we were told by our parents and our teachers. Now, children don't need parents and teachers to tell them a lot of things. That's a far departure, right? And so you cannot be using the same tactics you used to raise a child, aka us, then to raise your children now. It doesn't work. A lot of things will go wrong. So there are so many things that Nigerian parents particularly do that aren't good for the mental, emotional, physical, psychological well-being of our children. And a lot of things are going wrong. And why the reason I felt that this is a thing that we need to start talking about is this. Nigerians are a wonderful, gifted, creative. Please give me vocabularies. We are an amazing, unique, innovative people. But there are so many things that our parents do that we are replicating that are shooting our children on the foot. And there is need that our attention as Nigerian parents be drawn to these things so that we can stop them, so that we can plug them, right? So that is what this series is dedicated to. This is February. When I got this brainwave to start this series, I had just talked to a preteen, the parent of a preteen whose preteen was going through some things that the parents didn't even know about, and she was so afraid because if her mom found out, she was going to be flogged. And so I was having a conversation when I was like, wait, these things are going wrong, and her mom is never going to know because she would flog her, because she will beat her. Its height and beating never achieved anything. It achieved things momentarily in the moment. That was the first episode of the Dear Nigerian Parent series. If you haven't seen it, you should go and watch it, because you're going to feel like, why shouldn't I flog my children? We were flogged. Most of us were flogged. Hey, pretty ways, welcome. We were flogged as children. Majority of us were flogged, but it's not the reason we turned out the way we did. It's not. There's so many other factors that made us turn out the way we did, and flogging never. It's like flogging an animal. And so and then we have parents who are avoiding having sex conversations with their children because they are afraid. Like, oh my goodness, what are we going to talk about? Am I not going to mislead them? It's so awkward for them having that conversation. So they avoid it altogether. Unfortunately, introduce the internet, introduce people who are the children who are using the internet religiously, who have mobile phones at their disposal, and they can get any kind of information at the drop of a hat. And our children are being exposed to things without control. There is no censorship, nothing. And then you're not having the conversation with the children at home, and so things are going wrong. A lot of things are going wrong. So the third episode we had was giving our children conditions for love. We withhold our love from our children because they have been bad. And that's a no. We need to stop doing that as Nigerian parents. You cannot withhold love. That means you're teaching the child all manners of, including that you are unlovable when you make mistakes. So don't I can't nobody loves you when you make, so you try the child goes through a lot series of traumas, trying to impress you, trying to pretend, trying to become who they are not, just so you can be happy. And that impacts upon them and determines the way they choose their partners in the future. They get into all manner. They think, okay, so this person who is withholding love from me, who is maltreating me, loves me, because my parents who were withholding love, my mom and my dad, loved me even when they withheld their love. So this man or this woman who is treating me like this, who is abusing, I'm withholding their love, also love. So it messes up. Our children are getting so messed up by the things we do as Nigerian parents. So, having given this background, this is already almost 10 minutes into this. Let's get into today's topic. Dear Nigerian parents. Dear Nigerian, there are some that I do and I pull your ears. I'm pulling it. Dear Nigerian parents, let me pull your ear. Stop ignoring or dismissing the mental and emotional health of your children. Stop it. You're saying, that's what some children like. We don't think that our children, as Nigerian children, can be traumatized, that they can go through anxiety and panic attacks, anxiety disorders, that we don't think they can go through PTDS, post traumatic stress disorders. We don't think they can have phobias. We don't think our children can go through depression. We don't think our children can experience intense fear. We expect them to be strong, kakaraka, street smart, streetwise, all that, all those things we have. Stop dismissing the mental and emotional health of your children. The way an Oyibo Pekin, where we think these things belong, the way they would go through trauma and mental anxieties and pressures and stress, is the same way a Nigerian child would go through the same traumas and mental stress and disorders, and the same way. Guess what? Especially in this year and age where there is a deluge of information and content. Content that oftentimes our children are not even protected from, that just fall out of the sky on our children, no matter how much we try to protect them. Stop dismissing the mental and emotional health of your child. Dear Nigerian parents, our children have feelings and emotions. First of all, we need to stop dismissing the feelings and emotions of our children. They are valid. Your 5 year old, your 7 year old, your 10 year old understands absolutely what love is. Don't mistake it. They understand, if they can understand anger and throw a tantrum, if your child can understand hurt and pain and understand sadness and tears, why do you now extricate love as a thing that your child cannot understand or should not understand? Eh? Dear Nigerian parents, I'm asking you a question. Why do you remove love as one emotion that you're, what do you know about love? If they know stuff about hurt, about pain, about happiness, about excitement, about anger, why should they not know something about love? Love is an emotion, just like the rest of the emotions. And guess what? You see that kind of love that gives you, Nigerian parent, butterflies in your belly. You see that particular love. Your child, irrespective of his or her age, understands it. They understand it in their own level, but they do. You see a child, a 10-year-old, who has a crush on his classmates or her classmates, it is valid. Don't dismiss it. Don't make him feel guilty or make her feel guilty about having that tender affection for a classmate or a neighbor. No, it's wrong. Instead of dismissing it, laughing about it, or making them feel bad about it or guilty because of it, guide them, ask questions, make sure that they are safe, that they are not being told things and being introduced to things that would make them twist that emotion into something that it shouldn't be, that isn't age appropriate, healthily appropriate for their age. That's what you should do. But they understand love. Absolutely. The butterflies in my belly kind of love. They feel it too. They are human. What you need to do is to guide and nurture it in a healthy way, to make sure that while they feel those things, that they are being children, and they are not leaving the threshold of what children their age should do, and jumping into the threshold of what adulting is about, because they are not adults. But if you dismiss it, what you do is you block opportunities for your child to be free with you. They feel those things. Those things are normal. So they feel them. And what you do when you dismiss or make them feel guilty or make them feel ashamed about it or laugh at it, make them feel uncomfortable about it, is you close up the opportunity for them to actually come to you to talk about it. And so they are going to go to other people to talk about it. Then chaos, trouble. Because who are those other people? Do you know what their values are? Do you know what their intentions towards your children are? Dear Nigerian parents, stop dismissing the mental and emotional health, well being of your children. Stop it. Pay attention. Stop paying attention to how they are feeling, what they are feeling. If your child is constantly angry and upset, you need to pay attention. Why? What's going on? Sometimes children don't know how to complain about things other than through the way they express their emotions. They just act up. Those are the best ways they know how to talk about or to draw your attention to the fact that there's something going on. So if you are busy dismissing your child that is always angry and violent, and you're beating him about it, or scolding her about it, or sending her on timeout, or grounding her, or denying her of things that she should ordinarily have from you to make her or his life wholesome and beautiful, because you want to teach them a lesson about their attitude instead of finding out the cause of the attitude, you are causing more damage and no good at all. Dear Nigerian parents, I'm talking to you. Stop dismissing your child's mental and emotional health and well being. Let me share a story with you. I'm in my early 40s. Heck, me, I don't even have any issues with age. I'm 42 this year. In a couple of months, I'll be 40, so I'm 41. When I was 16, when I was 15, 16 years in secondary school, senior secondary, I was accused of being a lesbian with one of my favorite persons in the world up till now. I loved her so much. I still do. And we were accused of being lesbians. That thing hurt me. That thing went into the recesses of my soul and hurt me. Until this time 2 years ago, talking about this, I will still cry. See, if you look now, my eyes are turning red. Until this time, just 2 years ago, I will still cry bitterly, thinking about something that happened over 20 years back, almost 30 years ago, you know? And what made it hurt so much was because they were all blatant lies. The way I'm an only girl. My friend is an only girl too, or was an only girl, whatever still is, an only girl. In my home, I talked a lot with my dad that should you bring such an accusation to my home, no shaking. Call my dad to school or my mom. Let's sit down and talk about it. They would ask you questions. One, they didn't know me, but there were so many things they knew that I could never do because of the way they brought me up. There were so many things they knew I could never do. And so I was never afraid of being accused wrongly outside. But I couldn't say that it was the same for my friend. She had a mom who could actually go, get dramatic and all. And that was a source of huge worry for me. And so one of the things, I don't know why, then it never occurred to me to insist that my parents were invited to school. This thing happened over a period of 2 years in my senior secondary, SS2, SS3. It was painful. It was excruciatingly painful. I lost my friends. All my friends turned their backs on me. All of them. Just save one person. My cousin, and she would cry and she would hold me and she would tell me, Omelogo, promise me that what all they're saying are lies. And I'll be crying and I'll hold her and I'll tell her, I promise you, they are lying. I swear, I promise you. Now, this thing traumatized me so much that I cursed 3 people in my set. Curse. One of them was the person who started the stories. When I cursed, eventually when I graduated and I went home, I talked about this experience with my dad. And I said, Daddy, Opifu, that's Igbo. If you see, this girl, this one will happen, that one, my dad said, stop it. I said, Daddy, why? He said, because our words are potent and these things would follow her. But not only would they follow her, they will bind you to her in the law of returns. You are the originator of so much hate. You are bound to her. That's the way the laws of God work. So you need to get this off your being. Did I listen? I did not listen. I stopped saying it to his hearing. So what did this do to me? 30 years or nearly 30 years after, I was still battling with that trauma. I wouldn't mix up with my set mates. They are doing things I don't want to be in their midst because I found it so disgusting and irritating that such people, things that happened decades, I still bore it in my being, carried it like a weight. When I knew it was such a burden was about 10 years, 11 years ago when I was pregnant with my son, and I was dreaming about this lady that I had cursed in my teenage age. I was dreaming about her. And the dreams were real because in my dream, I was pregnant and I was seeing her in my dream. I started praying and asking for, I said, I didn't even know. I forgot that I had such experiences, but they were just buried inside, right? And by the time I started seeing her a lot, I started asking for help. What do I do? What do I do? If I'm seeing this woman in my dream with pregnant me in the dream, it's a problem. That was trauma. Did my parents know about this? No, they didn't know about it. Not because they were careless or some, I don't know, but it was because I bottled all of these things inside. Why am I telling you this story? For the first time in nearly 30 years, I had the, I had the, I call it the courage or the audacity, the courage to tackle this thing. I was called into the group of my set mates from secondary school, the set within which I experienced this really traumatic experience. And while discussions were going on unrelated, I drew their attention to that experience and I said in a statement, his WhatsApp, so we're all typing. I said that I still feel really, I don't know how I said it. I don't remember how exactly I said it, but I wrote about how traumatized that experience of being accused of being a lesbian those 28, 29 years ago, how traumatizing it was for me, and how it has taken me so many years to pull out of the experience and actually forgive the people there and have conversations and all. I made a conscious effort starting 11 years ago while I was pregnant with my son. And one person in that group, who is a mother of three teenagers, preteen and teenagers, said, traumatized. Nigerian children used to get traumatized. How? I don't quite remember my response to that statement. But that statement for me was not the fight for the day. My purpose, my aim for that day had been achieved, to release myself openly, in Nigerian parlance, opendentially, from that intense trauma that I was carrying, that pain that I was carrying. I wanted to talk about it so that I could be free from it. And so I don't think I paid attention to her comment, but I noted it. I was like, really? She doesn't live in Nigeria. She lives outside the shores of Nigeria, not even in Africa. She lives outside Africa. So she lives among human beings who are big on emotions and trauma and all that. But she believes, as a Nigerian parent, that are in the whole world, that it is only Nigerian children that do not have the rights or the will I call it, is it the privilege, is it the right, or is it the opportunity to experience trauma? Dear Nigerian parents, what do I want to use and beg you? Schnaps, what's that? Is it Johnny Walker? What do I want to use and beg you? Stop ignoring and dismissing the mental and emotional health of your children. Nigerian children are human beings. Human children, like all the children around the world, they feel as much as you do. As much as all humans, all children everywhere in the world feel, they feel the same way too. We're dismissing our children's emotional and mental health the way our emotional and mental health were dismissed. So many of us parents are intensely hurt, traumatized, malfunctioned, damaged. So many of us present parents are just existing. We are trapped in our childhood from all the adverse experiences we had. So many of us parents are unable to express our feelings, to speak and say, I feel this. We're banging doors, shouting on people, transferring aggression because we cannot open our mouths to communicate how we feel. Why do you think we are unable to do that? Because we were not given the opportunity as children to express how we really feel. We were shut up, shut down, slap. Well, I'm talking, you're talking. If I slap you. So you were not allowed to express your opinions, to express your feelings, to even have an opinion, much less express it. And so today we are shut down. So many of us who, as children, had very big dreams, wanted to achieve amazing, infinitesimal things, were shut down by the way we were dismissed. Our excitement, oh, go and sit down. Who tells you that that is achievable? Come on, go and carry and go and write WAEC and go and study accountancy or study, or you want to go and study theater as to come and do what? You want to go and be acting or you want to go and be singing? Come on, go and write jam and make sure you feel engineering or accountancy there or law or marketing. That's what we experienced. And we as parents are saying, look how we talk. How did you turn out? You turned out a mess. In your quiet, sober moments, you know how messed up your emotions are. Mental health, nonsense. Emotional health, zero. Psychologically, we experience all manners of things as parents. And we still come out every day and say, look how we turned out. And we want to repeat the vicious cycle with our children. Dear Nigerian parents, stop. Stop dismissing the mental and emotional health of your child. If you want your child to function at a high frequency, emotionally balanced, mentally okay, spiritually fortified. You see, these tripartite stand: mental, emotional, and spiritual health. If they are on point, nothing will happen to the physical health of your child. Well, when I say nothing, you understand what I mean. Your child would have a high chance, a high percentage rate of being physically okay because mentally, emotionally, and spiritually they are fortified. What we are doing, where majority of us, by the way, are churchgoers, we're not even spiritual, and then we are going to church religiously, forgetting the spiritual well-being, our spirit, the real spiritual core. Then we're dismissing their mental and emotional well-being. So you're leaving your child zero. That's what you're doing as a Nigerian parent. Stop it. There are so many things our children go through mentally and emotionally that we need to start paying attention to. A Nigerian child, your child, might be going through depression. It is a possibility. Depression doesn't start in one day. Depression is a build-up from different things, from anxiety, from panics, from trauma, from being ignored for so long and made to feel unimportant, unloved, insecure. After a while, they begin to lose interest, joy, and excitement in ordinary things and experiences in life. That's depression. A loss of interest and or enjoyment in ordinary things and experiences in life. You see a child who is constantly on a low mood for extended periods of time. Sometimes it could be hours, long hours in a day, in short spells. Sometimes it could be for days. Sometimes it could be for weeks. Your child is low mood, depressed, and you say, "What's wrong with you? Shake it off. Knock out, get out of that." Stop it. Stop it. Instead of saying, "Just shake it off," knock it. Can you take a deep breath and stop? I feel like crying. Can you just stop? Irrespective of what you have gone through as a Nigerian parent, can you just stop and find out why your child is low mood? Can you just stop and find out why your child is so angry, so disinterested in life? Can you just stop instead of dismissing it? That could be a moment when you can save your child's life. But no, as a Nigerian parent, you dismiss it. Shake out of it. What's wrong with you? I got the only child I have in this house. Can't you know? You now start comparing them with Nkechi outside, with Juliet down the street, with Kevin and Stephen. Comparing. That's another topic for another day. You dismiss your child's feeling. The child is depressed. You can see it. But no, as a Nigerian parent, you dismiss it. And things go wrong. Then one day we hear that this child, high flyer in class, the best graduating, the valedictorian of his or her set, drunk sniper. Dear Nigerian parent, do we want to continue hearing this? Our children are drinking sniper. Our children are doing drugs. Young boys and girls are doing drugs. Do you know why our teenagers are getting into drugs? They want to numb that feeling of hopelessness that they feel. Some of them want to belong. Why would your child want to belong to what? Drug addicts? Why do you think your child will want to belong? Because they feel like they don't belong where you are. At home, where is their safe space, where it is their place, their comfort zone, they don't belong. And so they go out there trying to find a place to belong. Then they see people who offer them just a puff and a hop and a sniff and a high. No matter what vice your child could ever get to, they get into wrong hands. Your teenager gets involved with maybe a sugar daddy or what not. If you, the daddy, were there, giving her attention, asking her questions, showing her love and care, a sugar daddy would not be important to her. Because what could be more sugar than you, a biological daddy? What could be more sugary than your love? But no, you will not give it. You're busy, you're making money, you're building mansions. And so your child goes out there, your teenage daughter goes out there to find a daddy, a father figure. Emotionally, she's empty. She's looking to fill up. She wants the love of a father that you are not giving, dad. So she goes out there to get it. And you turn round and you condemn her. No, condemn yourself. You failed in your parenting. Hard truths that I'm going to be telling you. Sorry, You failed in your parenting. She went out to find what you couldn't give. And so when you're there, sometimes you think that hovering over your daughter like a helicopter, like a military helicopter, commando, she can't breathe, she can't drink water drop cup because your daddy. She cannot have friends. She cannot hang out. She cannot. Sometimes you think that is you being a father. No, that is you choking her brains out. She wants to go and to go and breathe, so she will still go out. When your child begins to cross the threshold of childhood into teenage age, you as a parent, as a Nigerian parent, you as a parent need to start doing one thing. Start building friendships with your child. You would be a parent who is a friend. If you cannot be a friend to your child who is going into teenage age, you will lose. Sure, banker, you will lose. Friends don't judge, so don't be a judging parent. Listen, hold yourself, hold your heart, listen to them. Have discussions over issues that they raise. Don't say, but you should have. Me, children natural, that is talking like this. I shut down. Oh, I shut my parents out. My father was my best friend until I turned 16. I shut them out. Both of them. I'm 41. My father is late. My father passed on 3 years ago. I didn't let him back in. Don't let that be you as a Nigerian parent. Don't let that be you. Form a non judgmental friendship with your child. Ah, goodness. The people on YouTube are distracting me. Someone said sexy 41. I don't like being called sexy. Call me beautiful. Now that's better. I'll manage it. But you're welcome. Hosadino, your name is so lengthy. I don't know why you made it that way, but welcome. Thanks for joining my broadcast. If you're a Nigerian parent, you're Nigerian, oh, you look like a Nigerian parent. Welcome. Come closer. I'm talking to you. Yes, yes, yes. Come closer. So don't let that be you as a Nigerian parent. Me with all this my sense, with all this my nurturing skills, everything. I shut my parents out at 16. My mom is still alive. My mom and I can be on the phone and talk for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours straight. Me and my mom are gisting. But guess what? Those things that really, really concern my emotions, I don't give her details. Because that child in me, that teenager in me, still does not trust her. Don't let that be you as a Nigerian parent. Our children are feeling different spectrums of mental and emotional disorders that children are feeling around the world. I've mentioned depression. Some of our children are feeling depressed. Pay attention. Stop dismissing it. Sometimes some depressions can be checked. When you nip them in the bud, you pull them out of it by different things. You love them, you give your presence, you tolerate, you understand. Sometimes they need to go through therapy. Yes, I'm holding table. Therapy. We are in a world, in the time in a world when therapy has become a thing. I've had to recommend a psychologist, and a therapist for a 17-year-old son to a friend of mine. She called and she was like, Omelogo, I'm done. I don't know what to do. She pulled out of a home with a intense domestic violence, and she took the children, one boy and one girl. By the time she left, it was late. The children were already traumatized, the boy more than the girl. And the boy was exhibiting all manners of things. Sometimes he would get violent, sometimes he would just pull, withdraw, lock everybody out, putting situations together and insult you weird. When people start talking without knowing their viewers, then you'll be funny. Oh, this is some Hosa D not Buster. I'm sorry if that I thought that was funny, but sorry if that's got you upset. No, I didn't mean to insult you in any way whatsoever. So please don't be offended. My apologies, okay? Please. No vex. No vex. Sorry. And so the boy was becoming all sorts of things, and she was seeing herself losing her son, and she needed therapy. I recommended a therapist for them, 17 years, 19 years old. And he's a lot better now. So yes, sometimes your child, your Nigerian child, would need therapy depending on the experiences they have gone through and how these experiences have impacted them. So stop avoiding it. Pay attention. Our children are going through anxiety. Okay? Sometimes this anxiety will become excessive worry. They're having apprehension, restlessness. They are easily fatigued over stuff. They are losing concentration because they are anxious. They are jumpy. They are tensing up muscles. These are common symptoms of anxiety. Our children are feeling these things, intense anxiety. And this could be as a result of so many things, different things. It could be simply because they have been compared a lot with others and being made to feel like they had to do a lot to be considered good enough. So when they are about to get into things, maybe like competitions, or do maybe like examination or a contest, they become anxious. And if these kinds of anxieties are dismissed, intense anxieties, constantly dismissed and made fun of and insisted that it should be shaken off, could lead to depression over time, because they feel like they are not important. Their emotions don't matter, their feelings don't matter. As a Nigerian parent, please stop dismissing anxiety in your children. It could be panic attacks. They could have phobia for things and places, or even for people. Panic attacks. And I'm going, what's wrong with you? Maybe it's a competition and they are panicking. Maybe it's a race. You know, then maybe it's for traveling, maybe it's for being alone or going out alone, maybe it's for enclosed places. I have panic attacks up till now for enclosed places. Put me in a vehicle, I'm in a vehicle, and then suddenly the windows are shut and I'm not close to the window to control it myself. I will flip off. I'm in a room, I'm asleep, the air conditioning is on, and then it's switched off. Windows are not opened, doors are not open. I fly out of sleep, deep sleep. I will fly out of it as if I'm in a chokehold. No air, no air. It's psychological. Something must have happened to me sometime I don't even know. Don't dismiss it. Find out ways to help your child overcome such a thing. Don't make fun of it. It's not funny. Some of your children could have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. It's like when they have obsessive or compulsive thoughts that they must just have to do something. They are not even able to control it. They're just obsessed over a thing, or they feel compelled to do something. And these things they are not triggered by things that happen around them. They all happen in their minds. This is a disorder. It's a mental disorder that could be mild to aggravated. The one that is most rampant is people who are obsessive about clean environment. Me that you're looking at, I used to have OCD. OCD that I don't know when it developed. Because as a child, I remember my parents Oh, now that I'm talking about it, I remember my parents, my dad particularly, complain about how untidy I am. I can't keep my space. No, it wasn't my dad. My mom was complaining about my inability to keep a space tidy. I'm an only girl. Why can't your room this? I can't what? Always complaining. My dad said one time said to me that you cannot haze fabrics. Welcome. Hey, Vicky, you've been here since. My dad once said to me that, why am I? It looks like I don't like new things. He said that to me, not as a teenager, as a young adult. I don't like new things. I like things to be old first so that I can now accept them. He said that because he said the way I flung my phone onto my bed from a distance, like I wanted the phone to be damaged so that I could feel comfortable using it. So having maybe these things, that was what they used to say to me then. And suddenly, I'm a person that I couldn't stay in a place that had a drop of dirt on the floor. My bed has to be tidy. I have to wash the place. So if I could, in my room, I could sweep my room 20 times in one day. No exaggerations. I feel something. So I have to be bare feet so that I can feel the dust. I will sweep. I'll pass again. I'll sweep. Goodness save you if you're in my room, sharing my room with me. You will feel like you're not welcome. Because if you shift on one side of the bed, I will dress it. You move to the other side, I will dress it. You drop something, I'll remove it. You keep. I used to have OCD. I had to mentally, as because it happened to me I realized that as an adult. So I had to mentally start working on it so that I could accommodate people around me. You have a child, some of them can be obsessive or have compulsive thoughts about different things. It could be anything. It could be just to, maybe to eat. It could be the compulsion to eat, the obsession to play with, to fidget with stuff, to fidget, to open, close, to open. It could be anything. Compulsive behavior, obsessive behavior. This is a problem that your child, don't make them feel worse than they are already. Find help for them for such things that are beyond just regular experiences that have caused them to be traumatized or anxious or stuff that bother on some sort of help. Dimi, how are you? You need to get help for them. Some of our children have PTDS, post traumatic stress disorder. PTDS usually arrives from stress. They've gone through trauma, trauma that could have been as a result of anything, a traumatic or violent experience they have experienced. It could have been domestic violence, it could have been molestation or abuse, it could have been an accident, home accident, car accident. It could have been a disaster. Maybe they were involved in a riot or a bombing, and they start having flashbacks or nightmares, or they develop hypervigilance for threats. They could become violent. They could have panic attacks. They could have insomnia. They could have intense fear and anxiety. They could just numb. They freeze. You are talking to them. You're talking to your child. Your child is frozen. Your child isn't moving. Am I not talking? Well, if I slap him, you slap him. He's still there. And they say, what's wrong? What kind of child is this? Stop dismissing it, please. Dear Nigerian parents, find out the root cause. Why is my, be curious. Why is my child like this? What happened? What is going on? Talk to me. If they won't talk to you, find a therapist or a friend or someone trusted that they can talk to. Sometimes they might not even know what their problem is. They just know that they have a problem. Your duty as a Nigerian parent is to acknowledge it, not dismiss it, not make fun of it, not ignore it. Acknowledge it and help them through your love, through your presence, through your tolerance, through your kind consideration, through your friendship. by you can help them through all these ways to handle the situation, to make things easier for them to bear. Your child could have social phobia. These social phobias could start as regular shyness, so they're just shy, they don't want to talk. What's your name? Oh, where are you doing? Small time. They don't want to go out. They don't want to mix with people. They don't want to be where there are people because they are afraid of judgment. They are afraid of embarrassment. Hey, Christina, how are the twins? They're afraid of judgment. They're afraid, you know, and because of that, they would close up. They don't want to go out. You try, you push them, you insult them, you then they go out, they lock up. When they're not looking up, you ask them a question or you want them to talk to people, they will start blushing intensely. For those who are dark like me, you won't even know. They will just stay there. Or they start sweating. Their palms are sweating. They are perspiring. You look at their feet. Some pee on themselves as teenagers or adults. Some of them start having palpitations. Some of them have nausea. Some of them have diarrhea. Suddenly their stomach is running. They want to use the toilet. That thing is real. They are not pretending to want to use the toilet. They genuinely want to use the toilet. The panic loosens their bowels and they need to use the toilet. It is true. Don't hold them there until they poop on themselves and then you insult them again, embarrass them further for messing themselves up. These things would happen because they have social phobia. Some of them have selective mutism. I learned this one from one of my friends who's into parenting. She's written books on parenting patterns and how to raise confident children. Dr. Ikalon. I learned the selective mutism. As in, I learned that term from her for the first time. I always knew that this was a thing, but I didn't know it had a name. Selective mutism. When you come, they're talking to you in the car. You grow dumb. You can't speak. If you venture to open your mouth, no words will come out. Your children will experience this. And you think, hey, what's wrong with you? I don't like going out with this one because she will just embarrass me. They will ask her questions, she can't answer it. Find out what the problem is so that you can help them come out of it. Be gentle, be kind, be tolerant. Your children's emotions and mental health matter. They are absolutely important. Amen. Now, welcome. Your children's, they matter the way they feel at home and outside. The emotions that they feel, some of them are intense, some of them border on health, some of them border on the traumatic experiences that maybe even you have inflicted upon them as children, based on the trauma that you have gone through as you went through as a child who is now a parent. Stop the vicious cycle. Let's stop this. Dear Nigerian parents, my injunction to you, this episode is dedicated to you for this purpose. Stop dismissing the mental and emotional well being of your child, of your children. You're causing a lot of damage that we can check now that it's still morning. When the nighttime comes, how they say it in that series, the White Walker, terror comes, right? By the time it's nighttime, a lot of things would have gone wrong. Things that if you had stopped, hey Emeka, things that if you had stopped to check, you would have been able to handle. You would have been able to manage, right? So please, I'm begging you, dear Nigerian parent, start paying attention to your child's mental and emotional health. Your child feels all the spectrums of feelings that you feel as an adult. They just feel it in different degrees, depending on their age, depending on their exposure, depending on their experiences. And so when they turn up as feeling a certain way, anger, pain, anxious, um, panicked, traumatized, whatever it is valid. Do not dismiss it. Do not further victimize or further traumatize them. Listen, sometimes they're not saying, most times, they're not saying anything to you. They're not saying, Mom, Dad, I'm feeling. No. They are just expressing it by their behavior and their actions and their attitude. Your job as a parent is to notice, and be curious. Why? Ask them questions. Sometimes, many times, they are not going to have answers because they don't even know where this came from. You, if you cannot unravel it with them, find someone who can help. Please. Our children are being exposed to a whole lot of things that we were never exposed to. They are dealing with a lot already. Even look at the economy. See how upset and would I say pressured you are being a parent right now in the world, in Nigeria. Being a parent right now is so, sometimes it's traumatizing. It's traumatic to be a parent in Nigeria right now, sometimes. So imagine how your children would feel when we were raised up. Even the some of us who thought that life was so bad, our parents didn't have much. We weren't born with silver spoons. We weren't even born with copper spoons. We weren't born with any kinds of spoons. And we felt things were so bad. Your equivalent of so bad then, the times when we were raised, is the equivalent of middle class to low class right now. Things, a lot of things have gone awry in Nigeria. And guess what? As I said in the previous episode, when I talked about parents giving their children, Nigerian parents who give their children conditions for their love, who withhold their love from their children and give them based on how good they have been, or how they have impressed them, or how happy they are with them. As I said in that episode, when you find yourself doing some things to your children, including flogging them, hitting them, ask yourself, if I was calm, would I do this? Would I handle this situation this way? Ask yourself that question. That's number one. Then, number two, if that were my partner, my wife, or my husband, or my colleague, or my boss, will I shout at them if I felt upset with what they were doing? Will I hit them if I felt upset with what they were doing? When we are frustrated, when we are angry, when we are at our low points, the people who we often will transfer those aggression to, sometimes without even knowing that's what we're doing, are the vulnerable people around us. The vulnerable people, chief of staff of the vulnerable people around us are our children. And here in Nigeria, where there are no rights protecting the child, even though these rights exist, they are not used. I mean, the child suffers a huge chunk of our aggressions, our anger. We transfer a lot to them. So please, now you have to start paying attention to your children's emotions, their mental health, their emotional health. They feel everything that you feel. Those frustrations that you're feeling, they feel it too. The anger that you feel, they feel it too. The excitement that you get to feel, they feel it. The love, the butterflies in your belly, they do. Understand it. Understand it. And pay attention. When it is good, enjoy it with them. Take note of it. Let them know that you're noticing. Share it with them. When it is bad, take note of it. Call them. Sit with them. Find out what the matter is. Because you can, because you are in a position to. If you have been traumatized yourself or still are traumatized and you are parenting, get help for you, get help for your child. Do not continue to carry along the vicious cycle. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. Stop saying, look how we turned out. We didn't turn out okay. Stop it. Should I make that one new topic all on its own? Look how it turned out. Stop it. We didn't turn out okay. Majority of us who are parenting now are grossly, intensely traumatized, trapped in our childhood, trapped and exhibiting all manners of things. We need to stop. The way we were raised, the times in which we were raised, are different from this present time where we're raising children. A lot of things are coming at our children. We, as Nigerian parents, need to make the effort to be the safe place, the safe net for our children. We need to raise wholesome children. Nigerian children, Nigerians, the kind of blood that we have running through our brain, our veins, are a special breed of blood. We need to give our children the chance for the uniqueness of this blood to blossom and bloom. We need to do that as Nigerian parents. Let's stop dismissing their inner persona, their core. Let's stop dismissing. Let's start paying attention. Let's start nurturing. Let's start encouraging. Let's start growing with them. Let's start doing that so that we can raise more wholesome, balanced, emotionally balanced, psychologically fortified, spiritually strong, and intelligent children. Because we can. So, this is all I have to say on this. I tried to make sure that this is just within an hour because I'm noticing that my the this series, it doesn't have to be too long. Doesn't have to be too long. I notice it's going to an hour, 30 minutes, 90 minutes now. So I try to keep this within an hour. But dear Nigerian parents, this is the fourth episode for February on things Nigerian parents need to stop doing. We need to stop doing a lot of things. This February, I promised in the first episode, there are going to be 10 of this series. 10 things Nigerian parents need to stop doing now. We need to stop it now. And we need to be conscious of it and constantly keep working on. This is not going to be automatic. But if you have listened to this, please share this with as many Nigerian parents as you can, because we need to start changing things. Please, if you listen to this, please start paying attention to the fact that you are doing this and stop it. It's not going to happen immediately. When you find yourself doing it, once you remember, please, please, please swallow your pride. Let me say it like my Anambra brothers, swallow your pride. Swallow it. Just gulp it down, gulp your pride down. Stop yourself at that point. Even if you were in mid statement, in mid sentence, stop. Stop. And do better. Please. It's not going to be automatic, but it is important that you start it today. Start paying attention to your children's emotional and mental well being, their feelings, their emotions, the experiences they are going through. It's important. You need to pull your children back home. They're going out there to find the things you're withholding from them, your love, your care, your attention. They're going out there to find it. Let's bring our children back home where we can nurture them appropriately. The things out there, the big bad wolves are out there. Let's bring them home. And this is one of the ways that we can. Please. So do have yourself an amazing evening. I see some Nigerian parents who are watching from outside Nigeria. I don't know how you're raising your children where you are, but if you're raising them the Nigerian way that we are doing on this side, please stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Thank you for joining me on this one. This is the fourth episode, so there are six more episodes before the end of February. That means that every day from now till the end of February, there's going to be one episode of Dear Nigerian Parents. And after February, there are going to be five episodes every month. There's a topic. The things that Nigerian parents are doing that we need to eliminate are plenty. So there is going to be six more to complete them 10 episodes for February. And then in March, there's going to be five, April, five, and so on and so forth until we can get a hang on this, until we can talk this thing, until we can start parenting better as Nigerian parents. Thank you so much for joining me, and do have yourself an amazing, amazing evening, or enjoy the rest of your day. And please do share this. This is live on Instagram and on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, please click the subscribe button. My dear viewer, I'm sorry on YouTube. I'm so sorry that I upset you by what I said. The intention was not in any way to get you upset or to insult you. I'm sorry that you felt that way, okay? I hope you're still not mad at me. Thank you very much. Please do subscribe if you are going. I have this on YouTube, so please, if you get to my YouTube page, subscribe so that when I have a broadcast, you get an alert. I would always be on Instagram too, so if you're on Instagram, I usually would choose 5 p.m. to come on because I want to have more people who can join live rather than watch it later. All right, so that's it for this evening. Do have yourself an amazing rest of your day. Bye. My name is Omelogo Nadi, and I am the children nurturer. Adios.